Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our new Edward J. Lewis II Lawyers in the Classroom program series. For those of you who aren't aware, the Chicago Bar Association's Edward J. Lewis II Lawyers in the Classroom program has existed for over 30 years. The program, which was originally a part of Constitutional Rights Foundation Chicago, involves me, Tiffany Watson, director of the program and former teacher and administrator, placing attorneys in second through eighth grade social studies, social sciences, and literature classrooms to teach students about the U.S. Constitution, their constitutional rights and legal system, and their rights and responsibilities under the law. Now, under the auspices of the Chicago Bar Association's 501c3 since 2019, the Lawyers in the Classroom program has continued to flourish. Attorney volunteers are partnered with teachers to provide students with grade level lessons and knowledge based on real life experiences, help them develop their critical thinking skills, and offer young people an opportunity to interact with a variety of positive adult role models. The purpose of this series is for you to learn more about our participants in the Lawyers in the Classroom program, i.e., our attorney volunteers and teacher partners, while also learning about what they've experienced during our Lawyers in the Classroom visits. Today, we are speaking with one of our longtime attorney volunteers, Mr. Bill Butler. Bill is a partner with McDermott Will and Emery, where he focuses his practice on estate planning and probate administration matters. Bill has been an attorney volunteer with the Lawyers in the Classroom program for over a decade, and we're so pleased to have him here today. Thank you so much for joining us, Bill.
Thank you, Tiffany.
So just to get things started, why did you decide to be a part of the program that many years ago and continue to be a part of the program?
Well, the program was introduced to McDermott, and I just thought it sounded interesting. I thought it sounded fun, and I thought that it would be very educational to the students for them to learn about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and their rights. And I also thought that it would be, both fun and rewarding for me to be able to interact with these students. And that's absolutely turned out to be the case.
Awesome. What do you believe are the benefits? I think you already kind of touched on some of the things that the students learn, but what are some of the benefits of the program?
Yeah, so I think, the benefits to the student, I think there are a number of them. From my perspective. I mean, one is just the substantive knowledge, the educational aspect of learning about the Constitution, learning about the Bill of Rights. And I love the way the program approaches it, with case studies that requires student interaction. So again, one of the benefits I think is the substantive knowledge. But another benefit is that because of the way that the cases are taught, it requires the students to interact with one another, in group settings oftentimes. It often requires them to stand up and talk and think on their feet. Mm-hmm. I think those are tremendous opportunities and benefits, for these students who may not be given opportunities like this elsewhere. And then finally, I think, and you touched on this, Tiffany, it exposes, these younger students to, another world that they may not be as familiar with. And so lawyers come in and they're able to ask us questions. I mean, we would always, the McDermott team that I'd be there with, would always start out the session with a brief description of who we are, what our background is, what kind of law we practice, what the law firm's all about, where we're located. And that would almost always, trigger some questions on their part. And so I just think for all those reasons, I just think it's really, really beneficial for these students.
Awesome. That's so good that you take the time to share about your practice, because as you said, the students may not be as familiar.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah. If you think about it, I mean, as a youngster, you might be, when you think of a lawyer, you might think of someone who's standing up in front of a judge or a jury, and that's not what I do. And so just hearing that there are other areas of the law, I think that in and of itself, is potentially beneficial.
Exactly. And having been a part of the program for so many years, I'm wondering if you have any highlights or any particular favorite interactions you've had during the visits.
Yeah, so I would say, thinking back on it, and you're familiar with the cases, so
Yep.
doing this as long as I have, there's a lot of repeat times that we've taught the same lectures. Um, and one of the lectures that I recall, and probably my favorite, the one that has created the most long lasting memories, is the one where the students are really forced to think about, if they're creating their own society, and which of these Bill of Rights are most important, these freedoms. And there's no right answer there. And so it's fun to watch the students think about this themselves, debate it between themselves and among themselves, present it to us, and then we'd give a little pushback. Some of these students would agree, but the most fun aspects by far are when the students then engage you in debate as to, no, this is why I think these are the most important ones. So looking back on it, Tiffany, it's that lesson, it's those experiences that have really been the most fun and the most memorable.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's a favorite. I think that lesson, A Visitor from Outer Space, where the
That's
students
it
look at
right
the
there.
Bill of Rights, I think that can be taught at or taken to dinner parties. I mean, people would love to discuss, what do they think are, the most important freedoms. So bringing that to the classroom, the students are able to really critically think about what's most important to them in their lives. So yeah, having them kind of argue about what's most important to them is really interesting. Yeah, I've definitely
Yeah.
seen it in practice many
Yeah.
a day. So, and it's very fun. Well,
Yeah.
we are so happy that you took the time to meet with us today, and I just
Well,
really
thank you.
appreciate your partnership. So thank you again for taking the time. And
Yep.
we look forward
You're
to-
welcome. It's a great program.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Tiffany.